Hello and welcome to Chapter 4 of One Shot Resume. In this chapter we're going to cover resume submittals, cover letters, and online presence. This is actually the easiest part. You've already done the hard work. In fact, what you already have can be easily changed to adapt to any new positions that you want to apply for, provided of course they are within your same profession and skill sets. Otherwise you might need some additional tuning. So discussing email submittals, this is the format that you would need to use. In the subject line, you want to put your first name and last, and then a few spaces, and then add the title of the position that you're applying for using their title. You want to be able for them to know who you are so that they can find you on their email in the future easily, and you want to tell them which of their positions that you are applying for and use their titles. Then of course attach your resume. And then in the body of the email, what we want to say is, "Dear sir, I believe you will find I am a good fit for your whatever position, project scheduler position for instance. I have," and then include your professional summary. Put your status. If you're a U.S. citizen, put that, green card holder, whatever your status is. And if you're a local candidate, you want to add that. That's to your advantage. Leave off if you're not. For instance, you might say local to Dallas if it's the Dallas job. If the position has travel in it, for instance, if it's a sales job, let's say, and it requires 50% travel, you definitely want to say you are open to X amount of travel, whatever percent travel it is that they're interested in. You want them to know that right off the bat. Put what your availability is, and if that's 2 weeks, that's fine. Put ASAP, you could put immediate. Just include it in there so that they know when you're available. And typically on the salary, I'll just put open or negotiable. And then say sincerely, and then your name, the phone number, and email address. So let's take a look at what this would look like. Going back to one of our prior chapters here, we're going to use this professional summary right here, and I have included it in the letter right over here. It says, "Dear sir, I believe you'll find I am a good fit for your program manager / scheduler role." And then I have put in here right there his professional summary. And then I have said, U.S. citizen, local to Dallas, open to 30% travel, availability as soon as possible, and the salary is open. And then put sincerely, Stephen, his phone number, his email address. Now let's take a look at this as if you were submitting it, because I want you to see right here in the subject line, there's his name, and then you definitely want to put what their title for that role is. You definitely want to use their title right there so that when they're on their email system, and a lot of people will keep these on there, they can find it again easily. And you want to be able to be found. That's a big part of this. So that's email submittals. Now I would like to say a word about fax submittals, and that word would be why. You really should avoid fax submittals for about the same reason that you want to avoid the U.S. mail. The reason is companies want to be able to easily put you in their system, and a hard copy is not easy. So if you do this, you may find that you're put at the bottom of the list of other qualified applicants, and they're going to get to you last, and the need to call you may never arise. Also, if you do follow up with a phone call, do so only once. I think it's a good idea to follow up with a phone call, but you only want to do it once. They'll get the message. Hopefully they'll look at your resume because you did call, but you only want to follow up once. They got the message. Cover letters. Generally speaking, they're ignored. That is, until there is interest in your resume or in your background. So if you're going to include a cover letter, use it to speak towards how your experience leverages into solving their business issues. Talk about how you've solved similar business issues in the past, And use language that says what you will be doing. Tell future stories, if you will, of what you can do, and don't speak about what you have done. You have a resume that's already gone through that for you. Online presence. So why bother with an online presence? Well, it's about options. It's all about keeping your options open, now and in the future. You want to let recruiters and companies find you. When you're found, listen. It costs you nothing, and eventually you'll find a recruiter that asks the right questions, wants to know who you are and what you want and your needs, and he may in the future call you with that option. When I first started, I noticed that the easiest people to get to take my calls, at least once, were those who were further up the ladder. They would listen, at least once again, because they would want to know what I could do for them. I would actually get a quick interview about their wants, needs, and desires, and then they knew the next time I called, it would be with an opportunity that met their needs. If I did call back, perhaps the opportunity would not be a fit, perhaps it was simply just not to be right then, but they listened first and then they said no. That was in contrast to so many people lower on the career totem pole. Typically they would just bark, no, not interested, before they've heard anything. So this lesson was well learned. Those higher up always listened, and it was a very good point was made. They were keeping their options open always. Yes, it took time, but they would at least listen once. And that's how they found opportunity. It would come to them. It was a great lesson, one that ever since I try to remember myself. Listen first and then say no. I may have no desire to change right now, but by listening, I can learn more and more about what my options might be. And by listening to the questions asked, I learn more and more about what's needed to move up, if that's what I want to do. I also learned that these people have been planning their careers. They got opportunities to come to them by listening. That way they have options. Too many people just say, no, I don't have the time. Well, these guys do it the other way. They make time. They listen, and then they say no. Most people spend more time planning their parties than they do their own careers, and successful people do it the other way around. So that's why to keep your options open. Now, here's how to get them open. Using LinkedIn, if you're not on there, you should get on there now. And you can put your professional summary right up there at the top, since you've already done it, and it explains who you are, a perfect picture of you, snapshot of your professional life. You also may consider using a very, very small keyword group to help those who are searching for you. For instance, if you're a technical guy and you're using Java and Silverlight and Unix and a few other tools, you might want to just include a very small keyword group so that people can find you there. And on LinkedIn, there's a lot of groups that you can join that would pertain to your profession. You want to join those. The idea here is you want to make it easy for recruiters and companies to find you. Also, get on Facebook and you can link it back to LinkedIn. This again makes it easier to find you when people do searches. You should also post a resume on a blog. The reason for this is this works for you 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's free. And it allows recruiters to find you. And the longer it's out there, the easier it is for Google to find you. Use the phrase when you post this resume, put the resume of, and then your name. This allows for a much easier search string in Google and Yahoo. And again, this is all about being able to be found easily. And then link this back to your LinkedIn page. This circle that way that these links make, keep making it easier to find you, and that's what you want to have. You want to have people be able to find you so that you can keep your options open. There's other online groups also. Join all that are pertinent, and then link that back to your blogged resume. Also, if you are currently on one of the job boards, Be certain to update your information weekly to keep it coming up first, so that when a recruiter does do a search, you're up at the top. You don't want it to get stale and drop off that first page. And so if you just do a little update on it, it brings it up to the first page. So that is the end of Chapter 4. Thank you very much.